Thank you, Madam Chairman, Congressman Shabbat, members of the committee. I appreciate the opportunity to come visit with you today. It seems that that's one of the most difficult things that challenges us, is to have the kind of communication that's necessary to find solutions to many of these problems. I believe that it's extremely important that government have clear laws and rules and be responsive to the needs of our citizens and our clients. Experience has taught me that it's results that count, and clear processes help us ensure the quality and transparency of those actions. It's also, in order to achieve results, it's imperative that government work collaboratively with states, local governments, tribes, which is a responsibility that we have, individuals and other stakeholders, to resolve issues and develop productive relationships and build consensus. This management approach, as you indicated, have yielded positive results for me, not only in this current position, but also in my previous capacity in private business and as an environmental regulator. One only need look at the news on any of the last few days to see the impact that energy costs are having on all sizes of businesses. The Energy Information Administration forecasts that increase in crude oil will continue through the spring and beyond. In fact, as you're probably aware, the last 3 days we've had record prices for oil. Last night it closed at almost $115 a barrel. And as importantly, and perhaps more critically, natural gas closed at $10.53, and that is very concerning to me. As a result of those prices, we're going to see record levels for gasoline this spring and this summer. Increases in these energy prices, as Congressman Shabbat indicated, especially those associated with transportation impacts, are going to hit small businesses hard. Certainly ranching and other operations which are so dependent upon oil and gas I think are going to have a real challenge as we go forward. As energy demand increases, along with the other multiple uses of these lands, we have to focus on energy supplies. According to the Energy Information Administration's latest estimates, even with aggressive energy efficiency standards, oil consumption will continue to rise, probably by 10% by 2030. U.S. total energy use, which is also a critical concern, is expected in that same time frame to increase about 19%. And that is when we see what's happening in China and India, where demand is expected to double. It's going to, I think, points to increasing difficulties in obtaining the energy that we need in the United States at reasonable costs. A little bit of background, and I'm just going to summarize this, but as was said, that we are the stewards of some 258 million acres of surface and some 700 million acres of federal onshore mineral estate. These lands provide outdoor recreation, energy, wildlife habitat, livestock grazing, timber, and certainly the enjoyment and protection of other natural, cultural, and historic resources. With the rapid growth that we've had in the West, from some 20 million in 1950 to 65 million today, pressure to meet these various uses is complex and very demanding. Traditional uses of the public lands, including livestock grazing, have and will continue to be critical to the economic viability and the cultural identity of the West. Approximately 1/3 of all domestic energy produced in the United States comes from these resources that are managed by the Department of Interior. They include oil, gas, renewable energy such as solar, wind, biomass, and geothermal, and these will be challenges when we start to see the development of these and the scale that will be necessary with regard to other uses. I know that this committee is keenly interested in the success of small businesses. Reliable and affordable key energy or energy is key to those businesses, especially the smaller operations. Increases in energy prices, particularly those associated with transportation, are going to impact our businesses, both large and small. But the small businesses are going to have a much harder time dealing with those impacts. There are a couple of things I think that are important to understand. First of all, only a small portion of BLM managed lands, some 5%, have oil and gas production, and even a smaller portion, less than 0.5%, are directly impacted by surface disturbance in these activities. Now, I don't mean to indicate that that is not a concern, because it is anytime we have disturbances. Access to federal energy resources is restricted by laws, regulations, and many special limitations. Results from a recent inventory that we have done of some 279 million acres of onshore oil and gas or federal lands indicates that 60% of those lands that contain oil and gas resources are currently not accessible for use of the people of the United States for that purpose. 23% of that is accessible only with a wide variety of restrictions which determine how much can be produced and during what period of time. Only 17% are available under what we would call standard restrictions. While BLM is seeing an increase in interest in development on federal lands, access to energy development is occurring even to a greater extent on private and state lands. It is important to note that energy development on private and states' land is more extensive than on federal lands. For example, in states with significant federal minerals, more than 2/3 of the oil production occurs on state and private land. In Colorado, 77% of the production currently is on state and private lands. In Montana, it is 88%. In New Mexico, 64% of the production is on state and private land. Royalties collected by mineral leasing and fees collected for other public uses serve to benefit our taxpayers. In 2009, we expect that public lands will generate onshore about $6.1 billion in revenues, mostly from energy development. And I might also indicate that we expect total revenues, including those on and offshore, this year that we contribute through royalties will be in excess of $20 billion. Approximately 44% of the onshore revenues are provided directly to the states and counties, and as you know, those support a wide range of needs for roads, schools, and other community and cultural resource needs. Wyoming's share in 2007 was $700 million. New Mexico's share totaled about $350 million. Colorado's share was about $117 million. The BLM continually seeks new ways to balance competing uses and to minimize, mitigate, compensate for adverse effects from these development activities on federal lands. Through our land use planning processes, implementation of best management practice, and other efforts and initiatives that we are involved in, we seek to ensure that oil and gas activities on public lands are done in an environmentally responsible manner consistent to the extent possible with all other uses. Chairwoman, I would be most happy to answer questions that you might have.